Greetings and salutations. This is Abdelhadi with The Bitter Truth, where we may not have all the answers, but we're going to ask an awful lot of questions. You can also become a bitter pill or a spoonful of sugar and get some fabulous swag that makes your life better. I am thrilled to death to have two guests in the studio today. Actually, not on Skype, not on the phone, which means they actually like me. One's a friend of the show, Jaime Burnham Edwards. She was on a few months back talking about SI bone and her miraculous recovery from chronic back pain. And her wife, Shawna Edwards, who's here, and we're going to talk about life as a married couple and kids and all that kind of stuff. So how you guys doing?
Doing great.
Good.
Good to be here.
Well, yeah. Well, so let's wrap, shall we? Y'all set for Christmas?
We're ready.
Yeah.
You know, low key. We don't like to do a whole lot.
No, I get it.
We got enough going on.
Yeah, no, I get it. Okay, so all right. Now we live in the age we live in. Mm-hmm. You guys are married.
Mm-hmm. Which is always a funny question. How long have you been married? And because we're a gay couple, that's a long-winded question.
Really? Why?
Because we have like several dates, because it wasn't legal for so long, but we've been together for 12, 13 years. We don't even keep track anymore.
Right.
But we had to sign a common law affidavit to be married, which wasn't really recognized. So when people say, "How long have you been married?" I'm like, "Well, which marriage date do you want? The one where Obama legalized it and we ran down to the courthouse?" So that's like 3-4 years ago. But common law which is what we signed, so we could get her on my insurance and get some rights. And that was 9-10 years ago.
Right.
So but we've been together for 13 years or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's kind of when you're a gay couple, it's like you usually have a couple of different dates because it's not like you can just go get married.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yep.
Well, no, I mean, Stonewall happened in '69.
Yes.
Right? And everyone, well, not everyone, but that revolution was actually, not a lot of people know about Stonewall.
Yeah.
They don't know about the nightclub and the whole thing. I don't think the mainstream media really talks about that.
No.
But then the following year, these guys, Baker and McConnell, went in Minnesota to try to get a marriage license. And they were denied. So they sued the marriage license dude who said he wouldn't do it on religious grounds. And it went to the Supreme Court, it went to the federal court, and then the federal court struck it down, and then they went to the Supreme Court and they upheld the federal court decision. So these two guys in 1970, college guys, they were just like, hey, we got a license. Why not? And so they got, and that was 1970.
Yep.
And it took almost 30 years, over 30 years, to get marriage finally legal, right? So have you seen a dramatic response to when you say you're married? Compare, in the last 5 years compared to the previous 8?
I mean, yeah, a little bit. I mean, not a ton. I've always been pretty well supported. But the shock that people, the look in their face when I say, "Oh, I have a wife and I'm married," it used to be like this, whoa, like people just in at work, and I'd say, 6-7 years ago, "Oh, I have a wife," and they're like, "What?" Because I guess I'm not stereotypical, I don't look the part.
Yeah, I think that's the
a lot of people don't believe me, that I have a wife, that I'm gay.
They just think that you don't like them.
You're just, exactly. You just don't want to give me your number. That's exactly true. I mean, even female friends from back in the day, when I first told them, they were like, "You're lying to me. You're full of crap." They just didn't believe me. But now it's people don't bat an eye at it. They're like, "Oh, that's so cool."
Right.
So it's a little bit different. It's not that we had, when I would say it before, that I would have a bad reaction. It was just a shocking reaction. But now it's a lot more normal. There's so many young people they're so lucky now, like in high school, that just have girlfriends. And, so it's normal. All these young kids are making it so normal that, I mean, if I was a high schooler or junior, no way would I have come out back then. I mean, it was like, no way.
Well, no, I mean, my friend's child, she's a woman now. She's like 25, but she came out in high school. But she came out toward her senior year, and she was with this girl. Yeah. And every time I'd go to the house for holidays or whatever, and this girl she looked the part. I mean, she ended up being a welder. She went to tech school and became a welder. She fixes motorcycles now. And she swear to God, she's like,
Yeah.
And Megan was like, just this girl,
lipstick lesbian.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And so I just thought, because she was kind of naive as a kid, and they would this girl would always be over the house, and I was sort of going, wow, it's got to be a tough life, because I'm thinking this girl has a crush on my friend's kid, right?
Yeah.
And so then, like, they would say, "Oh, what are you doing? Oh, we're going to go to the movies, and we're just going to, spend the night at so and so's house." And I was just like, "That poor kid. She's watching her bounce around in panties and probably pillow fight, whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And she's probably biting her knuckles. Little did I know, they've been together since the 9th grade.
Right.
And so when she finally came out her senior year, which was cool. She told her parents, who were very, very cool people. And then I was honored because she called me. She came out to me first before anybody in her family, before her aunts and uncles, which I thought was kind of cool. But long story short, it was not the thing that was this big stigma, getting picked on or any of that crap. I mean, none of that happened to her. And that, she just got out of high school 6-7 years ago, and she just finished college not even a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So it's like in this decade.
Right.
So it's like, it seems like people are getting cool about it, but every now and again, you meet people that are like, whatever, right?
I think it's where you're from, too. Like, if you're from a small town in Texas, it's more shocking and less accepted than if you're in Austin or Houston or...
Yeah, she had a different experience. I didn't even come out. I just was living with her, and my family is just, they're like, whatever. I mean, they're not stupid. I had a girl living with me. I mean, they're not dumb. I never was like, Dad, I'm gay. Like, I'm not going to do that. She had a different experience. Like she's from a small town.
Where'd you grow up?
Sterling City. Well, I moved there in high school. I kind of grew up all over.
That's in Texas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Small towns in West Texas.
How's that experience coming up?
Well, I came out like after I already lived in Houston with her, and it wasn't accepted at first, but then they came to accept it. So, but that's the norm, I think, is at first they're like, you're going to go to hell, but we love you.
Well, and they also thought that she wasn't going to be able to have they're like, we had better dreams for you. We wanted you to have kids.
They didn't understand it.
Yeah,
they came from a different time. I was also, living with my grandparents and my mother, so it was a little different.
Right.
But
Right.
It's the same thing. Like when I had Macy, I have all of our kids are mixed. And Macy's almost 19, but like my grandparents, when I said I was pregnant with Macy and it was with a black guy, they were like, she's going to be an albino. She's going to have a hard life. Like it's miseducation, like misinformation. Like same thing with like, you're gay, you're not going to have kids. We have 3 kids.
Right.
It's just people are not educated, and that happens like in a small town when people aren't around other people. I mean, it's just racism and homophobic and all that stuff. I mean, when you're in a small town, you're just not around the right people.
It's just the face you put on it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm old. I'm old. I'm old as shit. So, like, I remember my cousin came out in the 70s. We were like 14, and there wasn't anything. There was no TV shows. There was no Will and Grace. You had Harvey Milk and Stonewall, and that was it.
Right.
That was it. Nothing. And he came out to an Arab dad and Brazilian mom.
Ooh.
Same hookup I got.
I can't even imagine.
So, Muslim dad and a Catholic mom, you're just coming to grips with your kid's sexuality, right? And you're already like, Brazilian and Arab, and then he's like, I'm gay. And this was not a mystery either. When we were 5, he wasn't just gay, he was fabulous. Right? He was
it's people like that where you're like, how did the parents not know? Like her, I'm like, how did your parents not know?
My dad came home apoplectic. That's a good big dollar word, right? And he's like, he's a fag. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
You mean like gay? He's like, yeah. He goes, what do you mean? I go, like, you didn't know? Since we were 3. Like, it was like he just...
born that way.
Yeah. Every other Sunday, all the families would go to somebody's house for dinner or whatever. My family was, or my block was testosterone block. Like just boys. Like one girl, my friend's sister, who my other cousin, his little sister would play with. And then they'd come over, and the only girl in that bunch was my cousin, and it was all boys. And then we'd go out and play with all boys. And he was doing hopscotch. And just,
See, I was the opposite. I was throwing dirt clods and playing with the boys.
So when people tell me it's not genetic...
It is.
I don't, they'll throw all these abuse things. I know a ton of straight people have been abused. So where's that argument? Does that make you straight then?
Yeah.
Oh, you're straight because you got abused.
Yeah.
His priest diddled him when he was a kid.
That's what made him issues. You got
that's what made him.
Issues.
That's what made him straight, right?
Yeah.
So but then also too, I think it's just the desire to demonize the other, which is easy to do if you don't know anybody.
Right.
Right, because I remember I didn't have any real contact with gay people. I had a few gay guys that I knew in high school, some girls that were questionable about whatever, but you didn't talk about it, right? You just didn't talk about it. And then I get to college, and my first experience with like a homosexual was a gay girl on my track team.
Yep.
And so that made it kind of easy, because then I met her girlfriend. And I was like, they're not going to eat me. I guess they don't bite,
Yeah.
And then later when I met like gay guys, I'm like, okay, I'm warmed up. I get this.
Yeah. That's why I like to, I'm in the corporate world, and I deal with and work with and present to CEOs of large corporations and, these older white men that are just not around people like me. And so I have no problem like saying, oh, my wife, and it's just so that they can see that, okay, I'm normal, I've got kids, I'm a successful businesswoman, and oh, by the way, I'm gay. I have a wife and we have kids. And it makes them, I've seen the aha moment in them because they like me right away. I'm a personable person. I get along with everybody.
Yeah.
And so I go in and they're like, oh, yeah, she's cool. And then they find out, oh, she's gay. And it's like, oh, wow, maybe what I was thinking all this time is not correct.
Right.
And so I try to make it a point to try to change some minds, especially in the corporate world of some of these older white,
Right.
old school men
Right.
That have preconceived notion of what, a gay couple looks like and,
Which one's the man?
we get that all the time. Which one's the guy?
Neither.
Well, we're both girls and we're with each other because we don't like men.
Well, see,
So-
this is the thing that pisses me off by that question, because I honestly believe that there is a masculine and feminine energy, even in
Right.
Homosexual relationships,
Right. Right.
Because if you have two, alpha people, I don't care if they're straight.
Yeah.
A man and woman, when they're both alpha, and I've dated these women,
Yes.
it's just one big fight all the time. Everything's a fight.
Right.
Everything's a fight. And then when it's two passive people who I've seen, nothing gets done. What do you want to do? I don't know. I don't know. Well,
Passive aggressive.
Well, I don't know. You never go on vacation. Why? Well, we didn't really make a decision because you're the we instead of one going, hey, I'm going to get tickets to Hawaii. Okay, or
Yeah.
whatever. But that energy is also in homosexual relationships.
Yeah.
So, but with a straight couple, you never say which one's on top.
Right.
Or whatever, right?
Right.
You never say that shit. But with gay people, it's just like, why would you ask that?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It was like, or with women, like, well, hey, who wears the thing? You're like, really? Dude?
Like, I'd be with a dude if I was,
It's kind of
if
the point.
that's what I wanted.
It's kind of the point.
That's the point. That's why
Yeah.
I don't get I don't know. Sometimes I just don't get it. But we're complete opposites.
Right.
Like she's super chill and laid back and sometimes she does like the guy stuff, but then there's me that like pays the bills and like fixes stuff around the house and stuff.
Right.
But I'm also
Relationship.
I do all the driving and stuff, but I'm also the more girly one.
Right.
So it's
relationship.
just we both have a little bit of that energy and it just kind of works together.
Well, how do you, so, not to get too horribly into the weeds on politics, but, whatever, fuck it. So how do you feel about, like, I honestly feel that gay now is getting, like, thrown into the Benetton ad of politics, right? Like Mayor Pete.
Yeah.
It's like, and please feel free. So, like, Mayor Pete, for example, Pete Buttigieg, he's gay.
Yeah.
And I don't like him.
I don't like them either.
And people go, the other night I was at a bar with a couple of buddies, and Hillary Clinton had come up, and my one friend goes, I said something like, I hate her fucking guts, but he goes, well, yeah, but so do a lot of misogynists. And I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't mean she's not an asshole. Sorry, the misogynists don't like her. Racists don't like Obama. I thought he was a shitty president.
Right.
Not because he's black.
Yeah.
Right. And when he said that to me, I was going, and I know he hates Pete Buttigieg. He hates him. He was sending me articles last year, right? Before the guy got any heat on what a fraud he was and da-da-da. I'm like, all right, that's cool. So when he said that, I go, so that means I'm homophobic because I don't like Mayor Pete? Well, no, it's different. No, it's not different. It's the same goddamn thing. So he's weaponized the identity politics of it. Like if because people want a gay president. I would like a gay president.
Yeah.
Just somebody else. It's not a corporate sellout tool.
Right.
I mean, how do you feel about that?
Well, I don't like people who lead with their religion, and especially when their religion it doesn't match who they are. The Bible says homosexuality is wrong, and this guy leads with his religion and his gayness. And I'm like, okay, no, I don't want that. You don't even match your religion. Like, no, thank you.
But here's the thing, though. But fornication's wrong.
True.
Technically, I'm going to hell.
True.
Right? I'm having sex out of wedlock. Well, not lately. But let's not split hairs. But you know what I mean? It's like, so when people want to, get into that, it's like serving their own purpose. And I don't mind him leading so much with his religion. If he wants to say he's a Christian, he wants to say he's a turtle, that's fine.
Yeah.
But weaponizing his gay deal, what I think it is, because most people are so enamored with him because he's gay.
Yeah.
Which one can almost say it's progress, because before that was not a badge.
Right.
True.
Right? Like if you if you're going to run for president and be gay, like 10 years ago, that was just
No way.
unfathomable.
Yeah.
And now he's actually got 39 billionaire donors. He's got more billionaire donors than goddamn Joe
Right.
Biden. Right. So, when you hear that, I mean, like knowing who he is policy wise, do you think he's taking advantage of his orientation?
I think he's taken advantage of his orientation as much as Trump is taking advantage of evangelicals.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
All right.
He's not a real Christian. He can't even quote a Bible verse properly. I could quote more Bible verses than he can.
You've probably forgotten more Bible than he will ever know.
Yeah. And so he's just using it as a way to pander and get votes. That's my opinion.
And I won't vote for someone because they're gay. I would love a black female president, right? Like, I mean,
Not Kamala Harris.
not Kamala.
No.
Right, exactly. I mean, not Hillary Clinton was not the answer. I wanted a female president, but Hillary was not the answer. And Pete is not the answer. Like, I would love a gay president, but I'm not going to vote for someone just because. Now, I will vote for someone because they're not Trump. That I will do.
Careful. Like that Twilight Zone episode, it was on the other night. Little pawn
But,
store owner,
yeah.
he gets that genie.
Yeah.
Not careful.
Right.
You know, the third wish. Unlimited power. Unlimited riches.
Yeah.
Absolute control. He wakes up and he's Hitler in the bunker in 1945.
Right.
And the little
Totally.
lieutenant guy goes, "Mein Herr, it's his time. It's time to drink the poison and kill himself."
Yeah.
And he's like crying. Oh! When you're asking for that, you be
Right.
specific.
Yeah.
You got to be specific.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if we got a Joe Biden, for example, he's going to be every bit as bad as Trump.
Right.
Worse because the Democrats are going to go to sleep because the Democrat is in there. And he's going to take us from 7 wars to 9
I
wars.
don't think we're going to have to worry about Biden, though.
No, I'm just saying as a for instance.
Yeah,
It's-
exactly.
I don't know what's going to happen with that.
Well, I don't want to get too into the weeds with the impeachment, but I think it's a joke, to be honest. I mean, if you're going to impeach on war crimes. If you're going to impeach on the Monuments Clause. But
I
then,
think he has many of reasons to be impeached.
yes.
From
but
the
not,
day he got
So-
in
Absolutely,
office.
but not
Yeah.
the bullshit. I made a call to the Ukraine that if the Attorney General made that call, we wouldn't be having this discussion.
Yeah.
But God forbid you make that call. You make an impeachment hearing on actual shit that he did, obstruction of justice, war crimes. He's profiting off the presidency. The CIA has to stay in his hotels.
Yep.
That's illegal.
Yep.
But
There's so much.
This is why this is a circus. This is why, for example, with
Yeah.
Pete Buttigieg, he's a fracas. He's a circus because propaganda simplifies. Propaganda does not clarify. It simplifies because it makes it like people watching this reality show. This impeachment hearing is no different than Trump teabagging a stripper.
Yeah.
Right? It's not talking about his failed policies in China. Right? It's not talking about bombing civilians, which Obama did. Which, by the way, if you impeach Trump on that, then you have to indict Citizen Bush and Citizen Obama. They don't want to do that.
Yeah.
It's one big gangbang corporate thing, and we're not in it.
The thing is, I want everyone who is a criminal and has done criminal activities to be prosecuted.
I would love
I
that.
don't care who it is. I don't care who it is.
I don't care who it is either. But you do it on the crime.
Yeah.
Not make up another crime and have some flimsy thing. Which, by the way, Chucky the Shoom, he's not gonna get a conviction. He's not going to get a
No.
conviction. I mean, if he had balls, and I didn't like Lyndon Johnson, but Lyndon Johnson had balls when he was in the Senate because even though he had Democrats as the majority, if he saw anyone on the fence, he would threaten him. He would threaten to primary him. And he had this great quote. I mean, he was a slime bag. But if you read Masters of the Senate, he had this great quote. Some reporter goes, how do you know? How can you get the Democrat? How can you get the Senate to do? Because he'll even get some Republicans on his side too. He's all, I know what kind of rub they like on their meat. I know what kind of bourbons they like, and I know what kind of women they don't bring home to their mama. And he had a nice little file.
Wow.
And he would threaten to primary people, right? Chuck Schumer would never do that. Chuck Schumer would never do that. And so the Republicans that are on the fence about convicting or not convicting,
Yeah.
Chuck Schumer does not have the balls to go get them because it's not a big majority. It's a one-person majority.
Right.
But I want to talk about you guys. So, okay, well, speaking of the orange one, Cheeto Jesus, the magnificent comb-over. People get pissed when I say Cheeto Jesus, too. And
I don't.
And you know who said that? A Republican. I stole that from a Republican on Twitter.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They hated him before he was president.
Well, still,
All of
the guy
them.
still hates him. And
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I think Cheeto Jesus is funny as hell because he's brittle, he's cheesy, he's not good for you, and everyone worships him.
Yeah.
Not everyone, but his friends worship him.
Yeah.
Well, Israel put him on a coin, so he has to be
Not.
religious. You didn't know that?
No, I know they named a settlement after him.
They put him on a coin. And they say he's like
Right?
King Cyrus. He's comparable. And that's what the religious Christian right extremists think.
Oh no. Oh, I see the shit on my Facebook. I got like 3,000
yeah.
followers. I get the good, the bad, and the ugly, and they say that shit. They
Cyrus
put him
the
on a
Great.
fucking coin.
Yeah.
Could you imagine
Obama.
If we put Obama on a coin, could you imagine if we
God.
put like some foreign dude on a coin?
Yeah.
Like seriously, like name a president that we're friends with. Let's put Prince Ali Bama Sam Lama
Right.
Ding Dong. Let's put him on a fucking
my
coin.
God.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like,
All hell would break loose.
dude.
And imagine what that did for his head, like his ego. Like he thinks people worship him, and
They do.
They just put him on a coin. Like no wonder he thinks he's so amazing.
And it's so craven because Netanyahu's flailing politically. He can't bomb enough people. He can't even get a majority in the party. They have to have another goddamn election because
Yep.
he's such a fucking loser.
Number three.
And he's getting brought up on bribery charges. Real impeachable shit.
Yeah.
And so he can't win, right?
Yeah.
But I want to talk about because, for example, at this point in his presidency, he's already matched Obama's federal court appointees. Obama had 55 in 8 years. This guy has 55 in 3 years. And the Democrats aren't your friends.
Right.
Because in the fall of 17, right before Labor Day weekend, 26 got fast-tracked because Chuck Schumer wanted to get an early jump on the Labor Day holiday. And so they didn't even have hearings for the 26. You're supposed to have like an hour interview in front of the Senate, whatever. They didn't do that because they wanted to get an early jump on the Labor Day weekend. These are lifetime appointments.
Yeah.
And these
I know, it's
right?
horrible.
So how do you what are your thoughts moving forward of these guys? Because most of the stuff gets done at the federal court level, right? The hardly any like Baker and Baker McConnell, not Mitch McConnell, folks, the other guy. When they took their case to the Supreme Court, right? That was one of the few cases like that got heard by the Supreme Court in almost 40 years. And so now it's like most of these cases get decided at the federal level, right? So what do you see trend wise moving forward? Do you think they're going to try to overturn the rights that you guys have?
I hope not. I have no idea. I mean, Trump, at one point he claimed he was, I remember when he held that flag up and he was like pro LGBT, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Everybody that he has put into the Supreme Court and all the judges, and they're 100% against it. So I don't know. I don't know, honestly.
Well, I mean, I don't know, man. I think
I don't think it will be. I mean, I just can't imagine in the day and age we're in now and the support. Like, it would just, I feel like there'd just be an uprising.
Well,
if something like that would happen.
Yeah, I think so.
With the laws with the transgender in the military, and he took their jobs away, that's horrible. And there's no reason to do that. Regular soldiers were not bothered by these transgender soldiers. He did it to pander, and that's what they do. So I don't know what he will do. That's why I don't want him as president. I want my rights,
Yeah, I get it.
No, we also don't want Pence as president. I mean, that's like with the
Heck no.
impeachment. He's worse than Trump.
He's scary.
He wants to
Oh, yeah.
electrocute us.
He
does.
believes in de-gaying camps. He believes that shit works.
Exactly.
And about a year and a half ago, California made them illegal.
Yeah.
Scary.
And it was like a 2-page bill. It wasn't a long bill at all. And even that got spun. Because I was talking to I got a business partner in California, and I was working on my office, and he gave me a call. He's in the car, and he's a super nice guy, but he's also wrong. And we the last couple of years we just stopped talking about this because I don't have a dog in this fight. You want to give me your point of view based on your fairy story? It's fucking awesome. All the Abrahamic faiths are based on we're better than you, and we're going to kill you because you're going to kill us or whatever, and then you're going to go to hell. You don't have any fucking proof.
Exactly.
My Muslim side of the family that are dead, still dead. The Catholic side of the family that are dead, still dead. None of them came back to tell me,
Right.
hey, this is the thing.
This is it.
Yeah, Muhammad was right. Or the Pope, he's the guy, right? No,
The ironic part of that is it's always, I was telling her about this earlier, like it's always the group that invents the religion that's the favorite people. Like the Jews are the chosen people.
I've been saying it for 20 years.
Et cetera, et cetera.
And now it's starting to land because people are getting sick and tired of Israel's happy horse shit. So when I'm like going, then I'm God's chosen people.
Exactly.
They go, you're right. Some guy in the woods on peyote buttons. We're God's chosen people, and we got locks and bagels. That's why I know.
Yeah.
Fuck you. And then you look at what Israel's doing, appropriating Palestinian culture. Right, they're wearing those those embroidered dresses and stuff like that at fashion shows and saying that they're the original Palestinians. Fuck you! Putting chicken feathers up my ass don't make me a chicken. Okay, so and people are starting to see what an apartheid fascist state that is, and it's not anti-Semitic to say that. It's not anti-Jewish to say fascism is bad. There's plenty of good Jews. I know a ton of good Jews. I mean, personally, my friends I know a lot of good Jews that are not cool with what's going on over there. But the right-wing fascist that does that religious shit, the Abrahamic faiths do that.
Yep.
And then the fifth-tier column bullshit, the Hindus and the Buddhists, they're really no better. They just don't really have this really big attachment to the God thing. They just do more of a, hey, they're trying to kill us, let's go kill them. So they do their wars too. But they're sort of like the bottom tier as far as the murder stuff goes. It's usually the top three, the Christians and Muslims and the Jews. Those are the top three.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
But the thing, I got sidetracked about the California law, and it got spun because my friend, when he called me, he was like, I go, hey, what's up? He goes, well, apparently they're going to make the Bible illegal. And I was like, what do you mean? I don't want the Bible illegal. I got no dog.
No.
I don't want the Bible illegal. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, well, they're passing this law. And I go, I'm on in front of my computer. So I look it up, and I'm not from some website. I mean, I'm looking up the government thing.
Yeah.
It's like 2 pages.
The legit.
Yeah. It's like 2 pages. It's not, usually these bills are 3,000 pages and they bury all this shit into it. I go, dude, I'm reading it right now. It's 2 pages. They're making de-gaying camps illegal because psychologically they've been proven to not help anybody, and the suicide rate out of those things are astronomical.
Yes.
That's what it said. Oh, well, I just heard, you heard on your goddamn talk radio thing.
Yep.
And they're not making the Bible illegal. But
Alex Jones.
Alex
Jones.
It probably was. It probably was before he got kicked off or whatever. And I was just there going, dude, stop that. I'll email it to you right now. I'm not having this discussion anymore. It's not making the Bible illegal. Not making Christian literature illegal. Not making Christian schools illegal. Stop it.
Yeah.
And if they did, I wouldn't give a fuck. But they won't.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you have freedom of religion, but we got freedom from it. Right?
Yep.
So, I don't have to do it. But
Separation of church and state.
I also don't want my taxpayer dollars going to that shit either.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Pay taxes.
Pay your taxes. It's like...
I mean, Joel Osteen getting away. I mean, he's a billionaire, right? Millionaire, billionaire. And he doesn't pay taxes. He has Kanye West, the bipolar, crazy, all over the place person coming in there. I mean, these people are not giving to charity. They're kicking people out of their church when there's a hurricane. They're not helping people. So why do they get a tax exemption?
Well, and Joel Osteen makes, to be fair, he makes his money also off his books and CDs, which I got no problem with. But the money he rakes in on the church with his TV show every week.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's what needs to get taxed. I mean, and his personal income, I think, is taxed because an incorporation's one thing, the nonprofit. But I think him, Joel Osteen, person.
Yeah.
They get
the business side of it.
Yeah, he gets his taxes covered, but the nonprofit is. And by the way, his nonprofit makes infinitely more money than he does.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, he makes what he makes.
He gets little old ladies that don't have a lot of money.
Right.
To give money because they think they're going to go to hell if they don't give 10% of their whatever they get. Right. And he's living in luxury.
So let me ask you something. So I kind of know your story a little bit on this question, but so where are you at on this whole Jesus business? So you were raised with it.
I was raised in it, and I'm an atheist.
Okay.
I'm a secular humanist, which means that I don't care what your religion is. I think what is important is human rights and making sure that people have equality and quality of life over whatever you believe.
Right.
Because your beliefs are debunked, in my opinion.
Right.
I've researched it
Science.
a ton.
I've
researched it a ton. Mostly Christianity, but all the Abrahamic religions. I've researched all the religions. I mean, I want to know the truth, and if the truth is in religion, I want to know, and I found that it's not. So I'm
a lot of nice stories.
Yeah,
a lot of good stories.
A lot of good stories, like when God in the Bible, God sent bears to maul children because they made fun of a bald guy.
So I can relate to that.
Yeah,
little fuckers.
So they should die, right?
Yes, they should.
Yeah,
little 5-year-olds pointing at me. They should die.
Right. So,
well, no, but in
horrific.
But in all seriousness, though, like some of the stories, they throw a moral story out there, right? Like
cherry pick.
Yeah, if you want to talk about, this is what cracks me when people will sit there and they'll talk about the Quran, for example, as being this violent book. I'm like, you ever read the Old Testament?
It's horrible.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
It is.
God is
the stories in it. You're like,
he's a 13-year-old.
Is this stuff
the
real?
Christian God is the biggest abortionist in history, if it's true.
Right.
Like,
how many people did he kill in the Old Testament?
The flood, the firstborn sons, kill all the kids, bash their heads against rocks. Like, I could go on. Like,
it's awful.
But we'll sit there and we'll say that they'll say that, but then they go right to Jesus, and they'll go, well, but he came to fulfill the law in our hearts, so we don't have to be that violent. Yeah, and he spends Romans chapter 10, the whole thing, saying how he came to separate people. He didn't
Exactly.
come to unify anybody. You're
And
either
he
with me or
didn't come
not.
to end the Old Testament laws either. It's contradictory.
Right.
That's part of the Bible's problem is it contradicts itself.
He only came in theory to make people want to do it, not do it because they have to.
Yep.
He came to kind of try to get rid of the hypocrisy, right? But then when you look at, and if he existed, when you look at the story to begin with, right, it doesn't really get into him denouncing the violence of before.
Yep. And he's the same person, so why change anything?
Right.
God is Jesus and Jesus is God. Like,
And he had two dads,
it doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
and that worked out.
Well, God killed his only son. That's abortion, right? I mean,
Yeah.
It's murder.
It's murder.
I guess.
Yeah.
He didn't abort him. He didn't abort him in the womb.
Yeah,
That's
that's true.
But he had two dads, and everything turned out okay. And he shared an office with his father too. So there's that.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
but
there's a lot.
People don't want to talk
but-
about that stuff. They don't want to hear it. You
No.
know, it's even when she tries to. My mom is very religious. I was raised Episcopalian. My whole family. I mean, my sister is now Episcopal priest. I mean, just beaten into me. I am not Episcopalian. I'm not anything. I just.
Believe what's true.
I believe that something created this whole world. I don't know what it is, and I guess I'll find out. Hopefully, I don't know, but I don't believe all the stories that are in the Bible and all. I just don't believe any of that stuff. But like when she brings up like facts about the Bible or just about religion in general, my mom's like, "It's not about the facts; it's about just believing." And I'm like, "See, they don't want to talk about it."
That's like Rachel
They know
Maddow.
it's
That's
true.
like Rachel Maddow 2.5 years ago saying it doesn't have to be true to be blackmail.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
When the first couple of months of this Russiagate bullshit was going on, Richard Engel was on MSNBC going, "Hey, we got nothing.
Yep.
This is bullshit. The Steele dossier is bullshit. This is all bullshit." And then she's wrapping it up really quick. He didn't last 3 minutes, and they never had him back on. And literally, she's like, "Well, it doesn't have to be true to be blackmail." And we're going to go to a commercial.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
it has to be true to be blackmail, you idiot.
Right.
Otherwise, it's not blackmail.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the same with I don't have to fuck the facts. I'm just going to believe.
Right.
Okay. So you're going to believe then that Lot. The angels come and the people want to rape the angels, so he offers his own daughters instead of fucking the angels.
Yeah.
The first thing that I think of with that story is like, I see an angel. Oh, let's do it with them. Like, that's not the first reaction I have to seeing an angel.
How
Right.
depraved are these people that they want to fuck an angel?
God.
It's like that's the thing. It's like with anything, with politics, religion. Like I seek the truth and the facts and the real science behind it. Even when she tells me, like she listens to every podcast and she, conspiracy theories and everything.
But hang on. Back up 1 second. It's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's not.
It's a lot of it's conspiracy fact.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But when she tells me something, I go and I try to debunk it, even with anything. If I'm going to watch CNN, I turn around and I go watch Fox because I want to hear the other side of it. Like, if you're just watching Fox or you're just watching CNN, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Sure.
Listen to the other side. I always go and try to, like, Google or research the other side of a story I hear. Like, if I hear something on the news, I'm like, I'm going to go see what the other side is saying.
Right.
And then I try to get to the truth of what it really is.
Or as true as it can be. I mean, there's no.
Yeah.
This is what pisses me off when people say they're not objective journalists. It's like, well, there's no such thing as objective journalism, right? It's like you that was invented by William Randolph Hearst to sell more papers. Because if you speak in an objective, passive voice, then less people are offended. Less people are offended. That means they're going to buy papers.
Right.
And people love to be offended. It's America's favorite sport.
Yeah, it is.
Right? It's like seriously, like when I had a date about 6 months ago, right? I've been on strike for about a year and a half. I had a date about 6 months ago. We had 2 dates. And this is where it went completely south. So I was trying to figure out, hey,
I bet that happens a lot with you.
it does.
As soon as
Early.
you open your mouth.
Early. And you know what? And I'm grateful.
Yeah.
I don't want to suppress
No
this shit
bullshit.
6 months later. It's like,
No.
I don't
Be your real self. From
I don't
the
need to
beginning.
have sex. I could rub one out at 5 a.m. I'm done. with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like sometimes I wake up, I call my ex, I don't know, and I get all misty, and I'm going to text her. I'm like, well, let me rub one out, see how I feel. And it's all over.
Yeah.
I feel good. It clears my head. Yeah, keeps me sane. Keeps me sane and alive. Yeah. I have a shitty picker. I've met some prize winners. So we had a couple of dates, and then I was asking, hey, let's go to Fredericksburg this Sunday. Oh, I got to go to church. I was like, all right. I got real quiet. I didn't want to be the dick. I got real quiet. So I was like, oh, okay. And I go, well, how about Saturday? She goes, well, but then we have to come back the same day. I said, well, I was hoping we could spend the night. She goes, but I got to go to church. I said, okay. She goes, well, don't you go to church? I'm like, nope. And then she's like, well, well, why? I go, I got early release for time served.
Yeah.
Did my time.
Yeah.
Forgot more Bible than most people know. Did my time. She goes, well, I'm Catholic. I go, okay, that's cool. I'm not going to tell you not to go.
Yeah.
But I'm not going. But I want to go with my man. Well, you got to find another man then, I guess, because it ain't going to be me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't tell people what to do. It just, women get this weird thing, that I want to go with my man. And for what? To go show off your Sunday best and go get
Right.
brunch with a bunch of
Right.
assholes that I
Yeah.
might not even like?
Right. That's the problem I always had with church anyways, is people would go on Sundays and they would worship and think they were cleared of all the shit and the racism and the homophobia and all that shit during the rest of the week. I don't need to go stand in a building with a freaking steeple on it in order to be a good person and know that God loves me and I'm doing good things. I try to be a good person every day and be helpful. And it's not about going and standing under, in a triangular church every Sunday.
The thing that scares me is the glazed over look they have when they're in church and they smile at you and they have that deer in the headlights look. They're like, hi, welcome. And, they're delusional. They're talking to themselves. They think they hear the voice of God. You can't all hear the voice of God, So they're literally all talking to themselves, getting emotional. It's scary. It's to me now, especially now that I'm out of it, it scares me.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Some of the most hateful people are my favorite quote is, "Ain't nobody mean like those mean for Jesus."
Yeah.
In the name of Jesus.
Yeah.
They're hateful, they're homophobic, you're going to hell, we don't like you, you're wrong. Just so hateful. It's all the religious people.
Oh, yeah.
The people that aren't religious are loving and caring and accepting, and that's just I've more
spiritual.
and more.
They're spiritual people.
Yeah, I've always tried to find a church to go to, and we've tried, and it's just all the time. That's just kind of what we find is that the meanest people and the most unaccepting people are the religious people, the people that go to church. And if you truly believe, if you're a Christian or whatever, and you go to church and your God is a loving God, then what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, well, I paraphrase Dennis Leary all the time. I steal this joke. I stole this joke from Dennis Leary. I've been saying for 30 years. It works all the time. If I was Jesus, I would turn you into a leper.
Yeah.
And people get really pissed when you say that. Well, it's good that you're not Jesus then. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I just said what I would do. I would turn you all into fucking lepers. And if I knew that if the story is true and I was on the cross and I saw the sins of everybody, I'd have just ended it right there.
Yeah. She calls the cross a torture device.
It is.
I mean, look what they did to Jesus.
It was a torture device. It was 100%.
People have torture devices all in the houses.
I have hindsight now, and it scares me what people blindly accept and seeing crosses on the wall. I'm like, I don't have guillotines on my wall. It's scary.
Funny story, our kids, we try to raise our kids. We had this conversation with my oldest the other day. And, kids are raised to be racist or to be a certain religion, whatever their parents
are. They don't care when they're little.
They don't ever, I was raised Episcopalian, hardcore. I am not an Episcopalian.
Right.
I went to figure it out on my own, and I've come about my own conclusions. And that's what I told my oldest daughter. I'm like, I don't want you to be I don't want you to be an atheist. I want you to believe what you come to believe. Figure it out for yourself.
Right. I want her to be an atheist.
Yeah. Well, and same thing, my kids.
Well, don't push her. And don't say you can't come home unless you're, you're not?
I would accept my child, but I want her to come to the conclusion that these religions are man-made garbage.
100%. Listen, I'll tell you what. That I was on the tail end. Right when I went to the West Bank about a little over 30 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I was doing the first Intifada. Long story how I got there. So, hanging out with family, blah blah blah. My dad's Palestinian, so I'm in the West Bank and I'm talking to some nice Jews, and then I meet some nice Christians, and then my family, my dad notwithstanding, most of them are pretty nice people, but they all had a different punchline to the same fucking story.
Yep.
Right. So I had a 3 or 4 day layover in Denmark, and and it was intense being there because the Israelis are fuckers. They really are. And so, they didn't give a shit. I was American. I had the Abdelhadi falafel name. And, they just stop you and they take your shoes away from you the whole time they're dealing with you. You think harassment's bad here. I mean, and they shoot people like we shoot black kids here. I mean, they just, and they get away with it. They don't say shit. Yeah. The world looks at us. What's the matter with America? What's the matter with the fucking Israelis?
Well, I mean, Israel is God's chosen people, right?
That's right. They're God's chosen people.
You can.
And they can get you stuff wholesale. Don't forget that part. Oh, that was bad. But no, so I went to Denmark for about 3 days on a layover. And I just, I was already on the tail end before I got there. Because I was kind of coming at the tail end of my Christian shit. I was asking too many questions. And my associate pastor guy was always like, well, you got to have faith. I go, I'd rather have some facts.
Exactly.
I'm asking you some fucking questions here. And so for a couple of years, it was getting kind of, and then I went to the West Bank, and I ended up hanging out in Denmark for 3 days. And I was like, you know what, man? Either God has a multiple personality disorder, or at least one of these guys are wrong. So I was like, you know what? This isn't an original thought. Because when you go to church, humanists are, weak and spineless and sinful. You know how they tell you all that shit?
Oh, yeah.
When you're growing up. And so I was walking along this river, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm a humanist dude. I don't think I give a shit.
Exactly.
And I still kind of believed in God at that point. I just didn't think we had an answer. And I thought, well, I'm going to zen it out. If he doesn't tell me to kill everybody in the house because they're home, we're in business, right? As long as he doesn't tell me anything psychotic, go kill your little brother.
Exactly.
Prove you love me.
Right.
Tie your little brother to a rock and
Exactly.
put a knife in his
Stone him.
stomach.
Like, again, another thing I've told her the other day is like, science flies planes. Religion flies planes into buildings.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to steal that one. Did you make that up?
No.
That's going to be the title of your fucking episode.
Probably one of her podcasts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy because people truly think they hear the voice of God. When they do this thing, they're doing it because they care. Like, it's coming from a good place, but it's obviously bad for humanity. And so, like, that's why I'm a humanist. I don't put religion above humanity. I do the opposite of what, terrorists do and these religious people who think it's okay if Israelis are shooting Palestinians because God gave them that land and they have to get them off their land. Like, it's important for some reason.
I made a joke the other day to a Jewish dude I used to know in LA on my Facebook, and I don't think we're friends anymore. But I was like, gee, it really is too bad that the Israelis didn't do their thing in 1848. Because if they did it in 1848, we would not have been talking about it. But your timing was bad.
Yeah.
Got all this media,
Yeah.
shit like that, And then people start doing a little digging, right? And it's like, you guys weren't there. Like, I refuse to buy the Israeli couscous at H-E-B. It's not Israeli couscous, motherfucker. You guys are in the Ukraine, you white Ashkenazi fuck. It was Palestinian and or Lebanese and or Syrian and or Iranian. Whoever fucking made the couscous, it wasn't Israel.
Right.
You guys have been there since 1948, and most of you a bunch of white Europeans who, by the way, treat Ethiopian Jews, Iraqi Jews, and Iranian Jews like second-class citizens and like shit. If you're white, you're cool. If you're not, when you come to Israel, your right of return to come to Israel, you got to hang out in a camp for a little bit to make sure
Sounds
you're
like Trump.
Yeah, to make sure you're cool.
Well,
You're white, you're cool.
Yeah, to make sure you're cool. Make sure you're not really going to blow them up.
The way I feel about it is even if they are really from Israel, like originally, how would Americans feel if people with Native American ancestry started kicking us out? Like, it's the same thing. Like, you have to find a way to coexist.
Well, see, that's why the Palestinians refuse to go quietly into the night. They don't want a casino and some whiskeys. Okay, they want their land, right?
I
And-
personally think they should coexist, but
Well,
I
they
don't
should-
know how
well-
to make that happen.
Well, this is ugly. I'll tell you how to make it happen. There's no two-state solution. That's a fucking lie.
Yeah, Jared Kushner.
Yeah. To pimp that theory, it's been dead for at least 20 years. If you looked
Yeah.
at a map of the West Bank, it's polka dotted. It's not even. It's all Israeli settlers. It's all
Yep.
guys from Brooklyn who got a deal to go over there. Yeah, we'll give you a free house. Okay, and the government pays for it. The only way that's going to happen is if you give Palestinians the right to return to Israel, because right now it's illegal for a Palestinian to buy land in Israel. About 2 years ago, this Israeli land developer got, I think, 5 years in jail because he got caught selling land to Palestinian Americans, Europeans who split, made a lot of money. They started buying land in Israel under umbrella corporations from this Israeli developer guy. He got nailed. So he got like 5 years in prison. So it's legal. It's illegal to shoot a 3-year-old in the knee, but God forbid you sell land to these motherfuckers.
Right.
So long story short, because I don't want to get too into the weeds with this either, but the only way it's going to happen is if you get rid of the religion shit, which you're going to have to. There's 7 million Palestinians in that area. 2 million in Gaza, 2 million is Israeli citizens, and 3 million West Bank Palestinians. That's 7 million compared to 6 million in Israel. You allow them the right to return. And then you allow them to participate equally in the government,
Yeah.
and you allow them equal rights, not a bullshit,
Exactly.
jury-rigged second-class
They can't even
ID
get their
badge.
own election right now, so I don't think they're going to incorporate more people.
Right, but the challenge with that is if you did that, well, then the whole subject of Israel would come to a vote, and it wouldn't be called Israel in 10 years, and there would be no Israeli flag, and people don't want that.
I personally think that everybody should have a right to live wherever they want.
Oh, sure.
So the people that live there in Israel should be
Oh, they'll live
allowed-
there.
and they are culturally Jewish. And I don't care if they are genetically related to that land, if they are or not. I just think that there's ways of coexisting, and I think people need to evolve and get rid of religion. I mean, if you want religion ruling America, look at the Middle East.
Oh, yeah.
It's hideous.
Yeah.
It's the worst place on earth.
Theocracy.
It's the worst place on earth.
When you got a theocracy, that's what you get.
Yeah.
And the right-wingers that want a theocracy, they get pissed when I say this, too. History has shown, this isn't the Abe Gazette, but history has shown when one party runs everything, people die.
Yeah.
When the Nazis ran everything, people died. When the communists in Russia ran everything, people died. We got people dying here, and we don't even have, because we have one party. We got one big money party with two wings, two-wing-ish.
The irony is creating America from, we were trying to escape religious persecution in Europe.
Right.
We came to America. We persecuted the Native Americans. We persecuted black people. We enslaved them, all for religion. Again, if they were right in trying to escape religious persecution, but then they did it to the other people.
Well,
Get rid of the religious persecution, you wouldn't have it.
Well, the Israelis weren't even out of the Holocaust 3 years.
Yeah.
And they were running roughshod over Palestinians. But to answer your question, I'm not talking about taking land from Israelis that have been there 6, 7 generations, because at this point, 70 years in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about giving these people a right to come back.
Exactly.
And giving them equal rights to Israelis. But to declare yourself the Jewish state, let's just call it what it is. It is not a democracy. It's a theocracy. You're no better than Iran. And in fact, Iran has it better because Iran has the second largest population of Jews outside of Israel.
Wow.
And they don't kill Jews. They got synagogues in Iran.
Wow.
Yeah, that's something that, the Christian right doesn't want you to hear.
Yeah.
Right? Israel persecutes Arabs, and by the way, Arab Christians, because 25% of Palestinians are Christian. They just gassed a fucking bishop 2 days ago, giving Christmas Christian service, whatever. Good work. Praise the Lord. Awesome. But he's brown.
Yeah.
Just say it. He's brown.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It all comes back to religion. And if you dropped religion, you'd have to look at each other and be like, why do we hate each other?
Bingo.
Yeah.
So
You gonna really tell me that killing a baby is cool?
No.
Right? I mean, not you, but just rhetorically.
No,
I know you would know. If you did, we'd have a problem. But no, but seriously, it's like killing a baby is cool because, right? Or like you guys gave life. The pro-lifers should be cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
But because you're gay, they might have a problem with it.
Christians are okay with God killing babies.
Right.
But if you want to get rid of an embryo, early term abortion, it's murder.
And then flash forward, the kid is born.
The kid is born, and
Fuck feeding him. Fuck giving him a job or an education.
Yep.
Because
put him in camps.
We can give him a job, and instead we can give him a job. He can go over and kill some black and brown people, and if he doesn't come back dead, maimed, or insane, maybe we'll pay for college.
Right. Yeah. It's so hypocritical.
Yeah.
It's
So it's like this is the crap. This is kind of the crux of what I was asking earlier. It was like how much in this day and age do you deal with that? Being a gay couple.
Personally, I can feel it when people are genuinely like, "Oh, that's cool" and everything. I can tell when you're like, "No, I wish you were straight." I can tell.
Right.
In bigger cities, it's fine.
Sure.
But if you go to small towns, you feel it. You can feel the people like judging you, and they lead with their religion. So you can't. To me, it's like be a true version of your Bible or don't. Don't pretend that you're okay with it because you still believe in that Bible. You have to question your beliefs. And
I had a guy tell me the other day, about 2 months ago, a buddy of mine lives here and he's a conservative guy, whatever. And, we talked about this very thing and he said, he goes, you expect people, because he's Christian, and he goes, you expect people to know their Bible. Most people don't know this shit at all.
exactly.
No,
I
they
know
don't.
more about the Bible than most Christians.
And I go, then what are you believing in then? An idea? A place to go? Like you said,
It's an idea.
A steeple?
Yeah.
Like you said, I got to go to this building with a
Yeah.
steeple. Or like my grandfather used to say, my grandfather was a Protestant guy from Switzerland on my mom's side.
Yeah.
And my grandmother was Catholic. And he refused to go to church their whole life. He's like, I'm not going to go to a place with a man in a dress telling me who God is.
Yeah.
I got God behind this farm. I got God behind the barn. I don't need to go see God. God, and he goes, God ain't a guy wearing a dress. Now, and that's good stand-up comedy right
Yeah.
there. And he wasn't any stand-up comic. He was a farmer in Brazil.
People don't want to accept the fact that they're indoctrinated, and I think that scares them. And they want to think they know the Bible. They want to think they came to it on their own, but they were actually taught it by a man who was taught it by another man, and it's just
It's all hearsay.
But people like you are scary, though. People like you are scary, and this is why. Because you came up baked into that shit, and you went through what 95% of people don't go through. Yep. You went through realization, breaking down what you thought you believed, and then realizing what you believe and what mattered. Most people don't do that. They refuse to do that.
There's a lot more that way, though. I mean, she's a millennial, and people, boomers and stuff, make fun of millennials and say what they want to say. But
fuck the boomers.
They're very exactly.
I'm Gen X, bitch.
Gen X rules the world. But millennials are very woke, and I work with a lot of millennials, and they're amazing. They're very creative, and they just. I mean, you don't hear a lot like, "Oh, I got to go to church." I just don't hear people say
down?
that.
The numbers
it's
are
definitely going down because there's more science and people are questioning things. People are coming to their own conclusions. These young people are very they don't just follow in line.
Knowledge is readily available on the internet, so you can't trick us anymore.
Yeah, they're not being and that's the thing. Like I was saying with my kids, I don't want to teach you a way to be people teach their kids. Racism is not a thing unless you teach them that way. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And I don't ever want to teach my kids how you're supposed to believe. I want you to believe on your own. I want you to come to your own conclusions. If you come to a conclusion and you want to be a Methodist or you want to be an atheist, figure it out on your own.
Just don't be an asshole.
Yeah, don't be an asshole. Don't be a racist.
Don't talk in a movie theater and don't piss on a public toilet seat. My needs are small.
Or any toilet
seat. If you could raise your kids to do that, I'm good for you.
Yeah,
Kudos.
I have my own beliefs. We believe a little bit differently. I mean, I listen to her, she listens to me, but we're different people. We believe different things. Right. And, we don't want to just brainwash our kids. The other day my twins were like, "Well, there's no God." And I was like, "Hold up. Hang on a second." And I kind of tried to talk to them and give them the tools to we don't know. We don't really know.
We don't know, but
here's what Shawna Mommy believes and here's what I believe. Yeah. And, you'll figure it out on your own. And I just kind of, because I don't want them running to school. There's no God. And I told them there might not be.
But I got a ton of friends that my age that got out way earlier than me.
Yeah.
They're 7, 8 years old going on strike.
Yeah.
Fuck this Catholic shit. I ain't going. And they're this is in the 60s. And I'm like, God, and we didn't go to church. But my dad was all about the God bullshit, but we didn't go. I went to mosque twice before the age of 7. I'm the oldest. We never went back again. And I remember feeling self-conscious and my friends were going to church and we never went anywhere. And we're driving one Sunday somewhere and I go, how come we don't go to mosque? We don't need to go to a building. God's right here in front of the steering wheel.
Right.
Look at this sky.
Yes.
God's in the sky. I don't need to go to a building. Basically, he was lazy and didn't want to get up early and fucking go and do the 5 times. And it's physical. The way those motherfuckers do it is physical.
Yeah.
I've been in a few mosques. It's
yoga.
It's yoga. It's yoga. And you got to make sure you're hip with the guys. And it's choreographed. It's like flash mob, right? And it's
totally.
And so it's not easy. So and if you're not super practicing, this is what I discovered about my family when I went back there. I went back there to take my dead cousin back. I got talked into this shit. So I had to go to the mosque for the funeral. And I hadn't been to mosque since I was little. And most of my family, a bunch of heathens, they weren't in the prayer pit or whatever you call it. We're standing in the back. They're standing with me. And I'm going, what are you doing back here? Aren't you supposed to be doing a humana? And he's like, well, I don't go often. And I don't know all the prayers. Aha! Give me this shit that I'm half Brazilian, born in America, you little fucker. Look at you. Look at you, you heathen. You're going straight to hell.
Yeah.
Straight to Muhammad hell, right? And they don't believe in hell. They believe in purgatory. Everybody does time, and eventually you get out. So that's a little more palatable.
Have you heard about the Catholics, the reason why they water baptize babies? Because they go to a place that isn't quite hell, but they're sad because they're not with God. Purgatory for babies.
Purgatory for babies. And who
I'm
made that up?
The Catholics. They make up everything, right?
Pope Gregory. My favorite bit was, we got this problem with priests, right? Not surprising. So Pope Gregory in 1190, because priests could get married up until Pope Gregory. Excuse me. And it was cool, but then what happens, if a priest would die, the wife would take over the parish. And this isn't the internet. This is the year 1000 AD, whatever. It takes months to go 10 miles. So by the time the new priest came in, the wife's first of all, she's already dialed in because everybody knew her. And now she's running things. And so they couldn't get the new priest in because no one was like, fuck you. She's doing fine. You want to hang out and mow the lawn? Awesome. But we don't need you. So Pope Gregory had a vision, conveniently enough, because when all else fails, have a vision, right? And so he had a vision, and he took a suggestion that Paul makes in the New Testament. Paul makes this suggestion. It's not a commandment. Jesus didn't say it. Paul's like, listen, this ministry bit is hard. You might not want to be married because, it's hard. But if you're burning with lust and you can't hang, get married. But maybe you shouldn't. And could you imagine? I'm going to paraphrase Dennis Leary again. Could you imagine if Jesus was married? Right? How well that would have went? Right? You're hanging out in the woods with those 12 guys doing God knows what, and the neighbors are talking. You think the neighbors aren't talking? They're talking. And you come home smelling like fleas and hay. Right? It's like his wife would have nagged the shit out of him. He wouldn't even have got to the cross. It would have been over. It would have been over before it started. He would have had his vision at 30, and by 30 and a half, it would have been over. Or divorced.
Right.
So Paul's thing was valid. So all that to say that Pope Gregory has this vision, and in a largely illiterate population, what the Pope says goes. So he's like, well, priests and nuns can't get married. Okay. And that's what it's been for like 900 years, and no one says boo.
Yep.
Crazy.
Right? And we keep doing this shit.
Yep.
We keep doing this shit over and over and over.
Anyone who thinks that Catholicism is real, I mean, like in the modern era where you have information, the era of knowledge, how can you be a Catholic in this day and age? Like, all you have to do is research how it all started. I mean,
yeah, Constantine the First, baby.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
If you feed Christians to the lions, they can't pay taxes.
Yeah,
he figured that out. No, seriously. And then we got Commodus, and so Trump was. If Obama was Constantine the First, Trump is Commodus. And if he wins re-election, we're going to start seeing the age of the 90-day Pope.
Yeah,
like he's going to suddenly die in his sleep. Pence is going to take over. He doesn't play ball. He'll die in a plane crash. It'll be like being the president of Panama. You die in a plane crash.
Why haven't the Clintons taken care of this situation? I don't care about every other situation. I don't see how he hasn't died in his sleep already. I mean, everybody else does, right?
Right. Yeah. They die in their sleep, or they get 2 gunshots to the head, and it's a suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. But that's the attachment. I mean, like, and Democrats right now, they're doing the same thing as Benghazi. Right? And Benghazi wasn't even Benghazi. What pissed me off about the Republicans in Benghazi was here you had the Secretary of State running that show. Why didn't you ask her, fuck Benghazi, why didn't you ask her why we were in Libya in the first place? Why didn't you ask her why an ambassador was funneling weapons to moderate rebels, right? They didn't ask her that because they were complicit.
Right.
So you got to focus on Chris Stevens and those guys that you pulled people you should. That's your trial? That's your hearing? No. Ask her about Libya. Ask her why we attacked a sovereign nation unprovoked with NATO and us. It couldn't have been because Sarkozy was feeling a little guilty because he took $50 million from Gaddafi in 2007. And now that was going to probably come. And by the way, he's going to trial next year finally over that shit, 12 years later. Right. It's like the people are attached to their beliefs to the point where, anyway, we got off into the weeds a little bit.
I kind of want
we got a few minutes.
America to just get out of the Middle East. Like that
I
would
love
nice.
it.
I would
like us to get out of the 149 countries we occupy.
Exactly.
And the 1.2 trillion we spend on defense, I would like to spend on, say, college and welfare.
Yep.
I went to school for free. I'm older than you.
Yeah.
I went to school for free. My cousin went to UCLA and UCLA Law in the 70s for free. He paid $5 a quarter to go to UCLA Law School. You got the grades, you got in. Yeah. So they do in Britain. It's what they do in every industrialized world. That's what we used to do. And now we don't. And we got this crap-ass educational system, and it's all based on Jesus and coming for the kingdom, If people think Trump is bad, you said this earlier, but if people think Trump is bad, President Pence is going to be goddamn scary.
Totally.
Yeah.
And like, seriously, and people go, oh, well, President Pence wouldn't win re-election. You want to fucking bet? You want to fucking bet they're going to see Trump as the victim? You're going to get all the Republicans, and you're going to get a good percentage of the independents, and who are you going to run? Yeah. Who are you going to run? Joe Biden? Mayor Pete? Because they're going to cheat Bernie again. You think they're not? They're going to cheat him again.
Yeah.
They're going to cheat him again, and when he comes out waving his finger at me, you better vote blue, because voting blue is the only way to do it. Fuck you. You should stand up and go do your own third party. And stand up to these motherfuckers and make them the Whig Party like right now. He should have done that in 16. And I was an idiot. I was watching the convention thinking, he's going to come out and he's going to pull an Al Pacino moment. He's going to be like, you're out of order and everything's out of. I was like, he's going to do that. I'm taking my delegates and fuck you and I'm going to get out of here. He didn't. And they sound cannon his people. They strip the credentials. He's going to promise all the free cake and no death.
Yeah.
And then he's going to get fucked and he's going to finger wag at me to vote for any blue.
Yep.
And I'm not going to do it.
Right.
And I'm not going to do it. And you're going to destroy this country. Fuck that. It's already gone. It's already gone. We're at the tail end of empire.
Yeah.
Seriously. So anyway, well, listen. A couple minutes. Wrapping up. You guys want to say anything? You got a website or something you want to pimp or whatever?
We don't have a website.
No.
We are gay.com. No.
All right.
We don't have a website.
Research your religion. How about that?
How about that?
Thank you. Thank you. You guys have been great. Thank you. Thank you for coming on. Well, guys, listen, wrapping up. It's before the holidays. Have a good time. Enjoy. Eat some food. Drink some stuff. And, again, you can visit patreon.com/thebittertruth and become a bitter pill or a spoonful of sugar. And if this stuff makes you uncomfortable, it's supposed to. Sleep tight.